Dallas Mavericks have about 2.5 minutes to make a memory, to do something special if they want to get back into this.
And just not a wise play from Ivica Zubac. Here's Doncic directing traffic. Doncic trying to take Zubac. Step back jumper is true for Luka Doncic, who has 31 now. 17-point game, under 5:40 to go in the fourth. Clippers without Kawhi Leonard in this game one. Ty Lue telling us, Cassidy reporting earlier, that he'll definitely get it back at some point in the series. Harden gets the whistle, and James Harden is going to shoot two. All right, Richard, you touched on it a little bit before, but you have unique insight to both these head coaches. Jason, who you played with for years with the Nets.
Who was basically my coach.
Yeah. And then Ty Lue, who was your coach winning a championship. You mentioned it before, the adjustments. We know Ty Lue is famous for this, the way he's able to scheme game to game. What about his process when it comes to that stands out as a player receiving that information from Ty Lue in the playoffs?
He just does as good a job as anybody as a bird's eye view of like, okay, this is what they would do. This is what we would do to counter that. And then what would their counter be to our counter? So he just has so many clubs in his bag as it where he wants to go, how he wants to do it. He oftentimes will create a lineup that will force the other coach. And look, every coach does this. I'm just saying in my 17 years, there wasn't many coaches that I've ever been around with that could do it the way he did. Some are very stubborn, some are very deliberate, and that's their strong point. Jason Kidd was the same type of player. Jason Kidd was the type of player that can run the exact same play 5 different times and get 5 different people's shots. So like that was the way he saw the game. So both of these coaches are excellent at playing that chess match. I've had T. Lue, and I've seen him do it, change complete things in a playoff series, and ultimately that's what led to our success in 2016.
Clippers already over the limit as Irving misses a rare free throw. The follow won't go. Loose ball, everybody after it, and the Clippers come away with it. Dallas has left some opportunities at the free throw line in this fourth quarter to have this score be a little tighter. They're 19 for 27 on the game. That's 70%. They were just 27th in the league this season in free throw percentage. George, he can't get it to go halfway down, and it popped out. Here comes Green blazing into the paint and is fouled. Josh Green going right back to the line where the Mavericks have been living in this fourth.
Josh Green, my Arizona Wildcat, doing a good job. He didn't play in the first half. Look, still a young player. Coaches oftentimes will give certain players the start, and then if it doesn't go the way they want, they'll bring in other players. Green did a good job getting out in transition, and then here, being a part of this break, getting them 2 free throws.
Green hits both. 16-point game. Clippers have led by as many as 29.
But when we look at Derek Jones Jr. has 0 points. Gafford with 3. Lively with 3. Cleveland with 1. You know, there's just not a lot of support from that other group. When you look at the Clippers right now have 5 guys in double figures.
Here's George looking to find space. Has it taken away by Green.
That's what Green does. Defensively, he brings energy. He's an improved 3-point shooter.
Here's Doncic, down 16, trying to make it interesting. Doncic gives it up. Washington can't hit the 3, follows it up, looking for Irving. Instead, it ends up back with Doncic. 6 to shoot. Luka draws 2, slips to Washington. 1 to shoot. Washington floats it in. It's a 14-point game. Still time left.
But for the Clippers, you still have to be aggressive. I know you want to play with the clock, but sometimes when you try and delay the clock, you can lose your rhythm. They've been playing aggressive all night. They got to stay that way.
Harden kicks it. George, step back 3, won't go. Rebound tips off of Green out of bounds. And the Clippers get another chance here with 3:27 to go in the fourth.
And Green just off his outstretched hand trying to get that rebound. But right now, we've got a timeout.
They'll use one of their use it or lose it timeouts with 3:27 to go.
Hit that pose, take that flick, check your angle, post that. Hit that pose, take that flick, check your angle, post that. Hit that pose, take that flick.
Welcome back to the NBA First Round presented by ESPN Bet. Richard, you talked about Ty Lue. His ATO is going to have one in a moment, and this was the last one he ran after Dallas was starting to build a little momentum.
Well, and on this play, you're inviting the pressure. Paul George knows what's going to happen. So look, he stands there and he knows as soon as he gets out there, he cuts it. He's cutting before Plumlee even has the ball. One of the most underrated things about Plumlee's game is his ability to handle the ball. He can handle the ball. He can drop passes. He can actually somewhat handle it in transition, a couple of dribbles more than most centers in this league. So T. Lue trusts him to make those type of passes and then drops an absolute dart to Paul George. And that's what got Paul George going in the fourth.
Clippers were the fourth most efficient offense in the league on after timeout plays. They have another one here. 10 on the shot clock. Harden a deep three. You bet.
I told you this man was going to draw up something, and it was poor communication by the Dallas Mavericks. Both players were open, Paul George and James Harden, because of the lack of communication on that slip-out switch.
Harden with 28 points, 8 assists. He's 6 of 10 from 3, and a foul here on Zubac is going to put Doncic at the line.
So watch, he's going to come up and slip out. So now that causes confusion, but P.J. Washington isn't where he needs to be. And if he would have been, then Luka would have gone over there, and then Paul George would have got that shot. That one, he knew exactly what it was. That play, when we played against the Golden State Warriors, the Klay Thompson, Steph Curry switch. That's the one that they run up top where Klay will go and set the screen and slip out. Causes a tremendous amount of confusion at the top of the key. And either of those players you make a mistake on, they knock it down every time.
Richard, how about the way James Harden has answered the bell here today? He came on the air with you talking about it wasn't so much Paul George you were focused on without Kawhi. It was James Harden. This is why the Clippers brought him in, so that they had another star to deal with the inevitable injuries from George and Leonard that they've dealt with over the last few seasons.
Yeah, and he is a seamless fit. Part of the reason why the Lakers brought in Russell Westbrook is to have a third superstar when LeBron and AD were getting injured. This is a similar thing. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard had spent so much time on that injury list. He wanted a third superstar. And James Harden, after he got his rhythm, it was a seamless, beautiful fit.
Harden. We're going to go for another. Giving it up. 7 to shoot. George, 4 to shoot. George shaking into the paint. Forces it up. Doesn't get the roll, but does get the whistle. And Paul George is going to shoot a pair with 2:37 to go in this fourth.
And again, Paul George, this wasn't anything beautiful. It was kind of a broken play. But this is when you just depend on the greatness of the all-star Paul George, just using his strength and his size to get through. Look, James Harden, career high in made threes is 7. This is a guy that's been in the postseason for 15 straight years. Tonight, he hit 6. This is how you set the tone in a Game 1 situation. They have dominated the Mavericks from start to finish.
Here's George. Trying to make it a 17-point game. He does. A 20-point game for Paul George. So 20 for George, 20 for Zubac, 28 for Harden. Doncic. Step back 3. Off the mark. George the rebound. And Clippers once again have been able to stomp out the momentum that Dallas was building, trying to overcome a monstrous deficit. Harden going for one more. In and out. Rebound Green. And here's Irving, who has 28. Irving pull-up 3 is good. Kyrie has been electric in this second half. A 31-point game, 25 of them after halftime.
But only one other player in double figures, and that is P.J. Washington with 11. They're going to need bigger and larger contributions from their entire second unit. And that's what the Clippers got tonight. And they still have, in my opinion, they still have some other players that can play well, and they will be getting Kawhi Leonard back at some point in time.
Shot clock expires before Powell gets it off. Hey, tonight on Sunday Night Baseball, it's the series finale between the Braves and the Rangers. First pitch shortly after 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins 5:30 Eastern with Baseball Tonight. Sunday Night Countdown. Irving, that one back iron, no. Gets it back, drops it underneath. Kleba flips it in. It's a 12-point game with 1:22 to go. Here's Powell. Powell running clock. Trapped, gets it away to George. Harden is fouled by Washington. Steve Ballmer applauds. First foul in the final 2 minutes against Dallas. So side out of bounds here for the Clippers.
And let me just give a little love to Steve Ballmer. Let me give a little love to Mark Cuban, two of the best owners, in my opinion, in professional sports. They care about their players. They care about their fans. They care about the environment that they are offering the NBA community. So just want to give both of them a little bit of love.
Shot clock at 5. Harden into the paint. Gives it up. Taken away by Green. Green veering into the paint. Gets fouled. Josh Green will go to the line to shoot 2 with 53.6 seconds to go in this fourth.
I believe we might have a review. We might have a challenge.
The defensive foul called on George is being challenged by Los Angeles.
All right, the Clippers challenging the foul with under a minute to go in Game 1.
This will be a gold mine.
Well, an unsuccessful challenge for the Clippers as George had not established legal guarding position and jumped A to B, as explained by David Guthrie. Plus made that contact on Green. So free throws for Josh Green. Now, Green hits the first free throw, makes it an 11-point game. The last time, as Doncic and Irving now out of this game with Jason Kidd waving the white flag, the last time that Dallas had it under 10 was the end of the first quarter when it was 31-22.
When it was 10-0.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the Clippers, they got the message. Ty Lue told us he had one main focus for his group today. It was to not ease into the game. They didn't, and they didn't look back, as the Clippers built a lead as large as 29 and have maintained a double-digit deficit since the final seconds of the first quarter. George letting clock run. His 3, banks in, why not? A long 2 for Paul George, who has 22 points. 20 points, 14 rebounds for Zubac, 28 and 8 assists for Harden. Rebound, Zubac, shot clock turned off, and the Clippers can dribble this one out. Crowd rising to its feet. No Kawhi, no problem. The Los Angeles Clippers take Game 1 against the Mavericks. 109-97 the final.
I will say this. Dallas Mavericks did a very good job of battling back into this game, building some confidence going into the next game. The one thing about these 7-game series, the team that loses has the advantage because they are going to come back and they're going to make adjustments. Meanwhile, the Clippers are going to keep everything consistent and then try and raise their level.
So they take a 1-0 lead on Dallas with their Game 2 coming Tuesday night. You see the rest of the Western Conference playoff bracket. Once again, the final score, the Clippers 109, the Mavericks 97. For our producer, Rodney Vaughn, our director, Jeff Evers, Richard Jefferson, Cassidy Hubbard, and our entire ABC crew. I'm Ryan Rucco. Coming up next, ABC World News Tonight on your local news, except on the West Coast. Good night from L.A., and thanks for watching ABC, the home of the NBA Finals.